So what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a carb sync on the 2004 CBF 600. So this is valid for the 2004 to 2006 model, and it's also valid for the CBR 600 F3 engine, right? So first thing first we're going to do is we're going to take the tank off, and then we're going to disconnect the vacuum lines, and we're going to get the carb syncing tool, which is one of these, plugged in, get the gauges in. The bike is already warmed up. See if you can see the gauges. The bike is already warmed up, and then we're going to turn it on and just adjust the carburetor flaps or flies to the right rev range. That's it.
Ooh.
One of the things you're also going to need is a Sealy external tank. Otherwise, because it just makes it easy, we're going to have to take the tank off and we just plug one of these into the actual fuel line, and it just is an external tank. So first things first, I'm not going to disconnect the battery because we need to have the bike running for it, but you need to disconnect the overflow tube, which is the thin one. Make sure it doesn't connect to the battery, so we're going to get that electrocuted. The no other overflow, right over here. The sensors for the tanks, the vacuum lines, and disconnect the tank itself. And then if you could come over here, see if you can capture the vacuum lines here. You could go around. So the vacuum lines is going to be this one here, and the one you can actually manually focus on. You have to use this vacuum line. This is the petrol line. You have this vacuum line that connects to the first carb. You got this here that's connected to the vacuum pump. That actually connects to carb number 3. And then carb number 2 is actually at the cylinder block, not in the carburetor bank. And then on carburetor 4, you have a little nipple that it's the 4th vacuum line. So let's disconnect all of those. Just literally pull them out. They have clamps, but you can just yank them out if the clamps are old. And then you have here the nipple in here, this one. Just pluck it out. And then there's one that's underneath the carburetor boot on cylinder 3, on cylinder 2 actually, which is really hard to get. You will need pliers to do this. There you go. Okay. So the carburetor banks, we got the same lines that are going to connect to the carb bank. It's a like-for-like replacement. Okay. 1, 2, number 4, then number 3, which is a hard one. Okay. So just make sure you follow the same order, which is, let's connect this actually. Okay. There you go, all done.
Nice.
Now, when we adjust when we're syncing the carbs, what we need to look at is to make sure that they're all. So we're gonna have to adjust number 1 to number 2, number 4 to number 3, and then we adjust number 1 and 2 to number 3 and 4. And how do you do it? You just turn the bike on. So just to get. It's taking too long to go down the revs.
Yeah.
So it's taking too long for the revs to come down, so it's actually not a syncing issue, it's a petrol issue. So it's the pilot's screws that need to be amended, and to do that you're actually going to need one of these. And these ones will have to go underneath, in between the engine block and the carburetor bank, and while the bike is on you're just going to have to adjust all of them, just tiny little bits, so that will adjust the actual rev and idle speed. One of the things you need to take into account is that the measurement of this tool has to be compatible. The standard tools is 8 centimeters, but the distance between the engine block and the carbs is actually 5. So if you get the Sealy one, it's not going to work. You need to get a custom made one.